Testing. So friends, I'm going to ask you to move from this immediate spot just so that the people online can see us. And if you'll back up this way or that way, appreciate it. Friends, we're going to begin the service, and I want to tell you that in Judaism there are several ways to grieve for a loved one. And one of the ways that we do that is we look to the book of Psalms. Sometimes when we are without words, we rely on the ancient wisdom of the book of Psalms. And so I'm going to chant from Psalm 121, first in Hebrew, and then offer a translation in English. Shir lamalot Esaeina El Heharim Meyayin Yavo Hezri Esaeina El Heharim Meyayin Yavo Hezri Me'im Hashem Oseh Shamayim V'Haaretz Hezri Me'im Hashem Oseh Shamayim V'Haaretz Al yiten lamot raglecha, al yanun shomrecha, hine lo yanum v'lo yishan shomer Yisrael. Adonai shomrecha, Adonai tzilcha yad yaminecha, yomam hashemesh lo yakeka v'yareach balayla. Adonai yishmorcha mikol ra, yishmor et nafshecha. Adonai yishmor tzedcha uvoecha, me'ata ve'ad olam. Song for ascents, I turn my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. Adonai will not let your foot give way. Your guardian will not slumber. The guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. Adonai is your protection, a guardian at your right hand. By day the sun will not strike you, nor the moon by night. Adonai will guard you from all harm and guard your life. Adonai guards your going and coming now and forever. One of the other ways that we grieve is we do so in silence. And so I want to invite you all to just take a moment of silence. And as you're in that moment of silence, I invite you to bring to mind, bring to your heart a memory with Lisa. And as you're doing that, I'm going to be reciting the Tziduk Hadin, which is traditionally recited once the casket has been lowered into the ground. And it expresses our sadness at God taking our loved one away, but our understanding that perhaps God has some sort of larger cosmic plan in mind. Adonai natan v'Adonai lakach Yishem Adonai borach v'urach u'mechaper v'on v'lo yishchit b'yom ha'nashim v'po v'lo ya'ir kol chamato. I have to imagine that some of you are feeling the way I'm feeling. No funeral is ever something that we look forward to being at. In fact, it's the very opposite. But I can't think of a funeral that I'd rather not be at than this one. There's something so terribly unfair about a person passing at the young age of 50. A person who really lived to love others and care for others. And that's the Lisa I want us to remember. And she wasn't just someone who was a member of our community. She's somebody I grew up with. She's someone I deeply admired. Probably like others, I didn't get a chance to tell Lisa how much I admired her. So we're here to remember Lisa Gail Brick, Malka B'Faivu V'Sima. Lisa was born on April 25th, 1972. She left this world on January 12th, corresponding to the 20th of Tevet. She was preceded in passing by her parents, Fred and Cynthia Brick. And she is survived by her 4 siblings, Marcia, Ira and Sue, Robert and Krista, and Stuart and Cheryl, and by her auntie, Sharon Ganetsky, her nephews, nieces, and cousins, and friends and loved ones. I know it's cold, and I want to be mindful of that, but I want to start again saying that I'm not just here as the rabbi, I'm here as a friend. And I'm tell you a story about a friend of mine in rabbinical school. She was an amazing scholarly student, one of the best. She even tutored me in Talmud because I needed some support with that. And one day we were walking on a mountain in Jerusalem, and she said, "You know how you always ask what it's like to be me? Because what I didn't tell you was that she was about this tall." She said, "You know how you always want to be sensitive and caring for me? Well, could you slow the hell down? Because for every step you take, that's 4 or 5 steps I have to take." Why do I tell you that story? Because all of us are created in the image of the divine, but each one with a different, distinct, unique facet of divinity. And Lisa, given what she was handed to her in life, not by any fault of her own, not by any fault of her parents or her family, given her circumstances, she was, as Robert Brick would say, a freaking hero. And she fought valiantly and lived her life in the best way possible. So I want to call on the people who knew her best, call on her siblings, and if you decide to pass, so be it. But I'll start it as I told them earlier. I'll start in birth order, and we'll ask Marcia, then Ira, and then Robert.
Okay. I really don't want to be here, but here I am. I have a funny story with my sister. Back in 1984, I went to Israel for a year, and my sister was a little girl. When I came back in 1985, I walked in the house, and there's this girl there. I know my brother Robert had a girlfriend named Erin, so my mother introduces her. This is what Robert's girlfriend Erin. So I'm talking away to her, and Lisa's looking at me and looking at me strangely. This girl, I thought was Erin. After about 5 minutes, Erin goes, "Do you not know who that is?" And I go, "No." My sister had changed so much in a year, I did not recognize her. So, I mean, my sister had a sense of humor by letting me talk for 5 minutes before she even tried to correct me. But that's how our family like to have fun and joke around and help each other. And that's one of my fun memories of my sister, is letting me look stupid.
Hello, everybody. So, in the last few months of her life, Lisa worked at our restaurant, Ira's Deli, and it was kind of tough, insofar as Lisa struggled. She struggled with depression for years, and everything that she had to do at the deli was harder for her than for everybody else. But she had so much spirit, and she loved the crew she worked with, and they loved her, and she really wanted to fit in and be one of the crew, and she just worked at it, and she got really good at it, and all the time she would be doing wacky things, like she'd pull the staff into an ABBA sing-along, and she's always bringing stuff for them and surprising people and just trying her best to make the place fun, and she was hilarious, and she tried so hard, and I'm so grateful that she was able to spend the last few months of her life in a place where people loved her and cared for her and watched out for her, and she had so much, and she was so much fun, and she cared so much, and it's not fair it was so hard for her, but I am grateful for every day that we had to spend with her, and I'm really grateful that we got to be so close in the last part of her life. Thank you.
Thank you, Ira. A number of Lisa's friends made a collage of her life, and they sent it our way the other day, and it's 30 or so photos and sayings and memories that they made. And when I read it, it made me realize how much of an impact she's had on everyone's life, how seminal an impact she's been to everybody through their childhood and their formative years, and for us who knew her for longer. And it made me realize today that, as I was going to speak here, that maybe she gave us one more gift amongst the many she gave us. And maybe the gift is that each one of us, because I know she didn't realize how seminal an impact she had on everybody. I don't realize the impact I have on people, and I don't know if Ira or Marcia or Stuart realize the impact they have on people, or each one of us here. I don't realize how much we impact everybody in life, as much as Lisa impacted each of us. And if the gift that she gave us then is for each of us to take a moment and just pat ourselves on the back and realize that we're important to everybody. We're important to so many people that we don't even realize. I didn't know she was that important to all of you, but those notes are beautiful. So thank you, Lisa, for one last gift, letting each of us know how important we are to this world, and we matter, and we make a difference. So thank you, Lisa.
I don't really know
said. My sister had so much bright light to her, nobody really realized, and she was much stronger than anybody realizes, and she fought really hard. But the thing I'm going to remember her for the most is she had the most amazing dark humor, and she would be over here trying to make me laugh the whole time, and that's the way we grew up together. We were 3 years apart. It's always me and her, but anyways, thank you all for coming. She would be so moved to see you all here today, and she had no idea. Thanks.
Robert, is it okay if I quote you one more time? Some of your quotes are just gems. Robert once told me, how do I say this politely? If you're repeating something Robert said, it's not always polite. But he once told me that each one of his siblings might be nuttier than the next, including himself, but they all love the shit out of each other. I'm just quoting. I didn't say it. And it's so evident. So I want to talk just personally and not for too long. I want to offer condolences on behalf of my whole family, in particular my parents, Rabbi Neil and Carol Rose, who love the bricks. And they loved Lisa. And they love the whole family, and they love the memories that our families created in the 70s and the 80s with the Laxer family. The number of inspiring messages I received over the weekend, as Robert mentioned, from Lisa's childhood friends was simply just amazing, and showed what a positive impact Lisa had on so many. I can't read you all of them, but at some point I hope they'll be shared. I'd like to read two in particular, and one is from my lifelong friend, Gavriel Laxer, aka Gabi, who lived next door to the bricks on Macadam. Lisa was my next door neighbor and my best friend on Macadam Avenue when we were little. We pretty much did everything together. Bike rides, wading in the plastic swimming pool in our backyard, taking baths together, watching movies on the Betamax. Oh my God, do I remember that Betamax? In her parents' bedroom, pinball and ColecoVision in their basement, and the endless summer days of Red Rover, hide and go seek, and water babies with the rest of the kids on the block. In retrospect, the time was brief, but they were formative years of my life. Lisa and her family were such an integral part of my identity. I still remember the sadness I felt when she told me her family was moving. They moved to Garden City. In the later high school and post-high school years, I remember her bubbly personality, always comfortable in her skin and able to laugh at herself and act goofy. I hadn't been in touch with her in recent years, but I often share memories from those days with my children, and Lisa Brick is part of their lexicon. May her memory be for a blessing. And this is from another childhood friend, from Evan Tapper. I was so lucky that Lisa and I stayed friends for most of our lives. We would hang out when I came to Winnipeg to visit my family. She visited me when I lived in New York. I visited her when she lived in Edmonton. For decades, she would phone me on my birthday and leave a message singing happy birthday in a terrible Israeli accent. Happy birthday to you, say. I can't do it. She was always there for others. The summer I moved to Toronto, I broke both my arms in a bike accident. When I told her, she got on a plane the next day and took care of me for a week. When she couldn't work, she volunteered at a women's shelter helping others. She always made me laugh so hard. Love you, Lisa. So I want to pick up on something that Iris said. I feel compelled to say something about how cruel mental illness is. And mental illness is pernicious because what we normies, or what we think, people who like me think of myself as normal, and I'm actually not. But what we think of when it comes to providing support does not always align with what the individual who is suffering with the illness can accept or needs at the time we are willing to be of help. It is an affliction that not only affects the individual, but also the ones who care about them the most. And I say this because I know each one of Lisa's siblings, in their own way, tried. And you cannot walk around with any guilt. And I urge you just not to do that, because what she went through was something that so few of us understand. And it's with that I share something from Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav, who was a Hasidic teacher, who was the same person who taught about living every day with joy. And yet, what we know about Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav was he suffered from severe depression and was a recluse. And he preferred nature to people and was known to lock himself in a room for a long time, refusing to see or speak to anyone, even his devoted disciples. And he taught the nature of a person is to pull herself towards black bile and depression as a result of the wounds and happenings of time. And every person is full of affliction. As such, she must force herself with great strength to be joyful. Always. Tamid. Rabbi Nachman was ahead of his time in proposing a physiological source of mental illness. But more striking than that are his words. A person must force themselves with great strength to be joyful. Anyone who suffers from depressive disorders can relate to the daily struggle to feel good, just to get out of bed, to find energy, to perform the most basic tasks, to interact with other people, even to put a smile on your face. So again, given those challenges that Lisa experienced, as Ira has said so many times, she was really heroic. Before we conclude with the various rituals that are part of the service, I want to mention that immediately after the service there will be a meal of condolence, a Sudat Havra'ah, at 7010 Oak Park Drive. By the way, that's Stuart and Cheryl's home, but where you grew up part of your life. Yeah. You won't believe the number of people have talked about your basement. All the things that happened in that basement. Yeah. Shiva will be held at 7010 Oak Park Drive from 7 to 9 p.m. Monday and Tuesday, and there will also be a service at 7. Tzedakah. Tzedakah is a way in which we pay tribute to someone who impacted our life in a great way. And if you want to make donations in Lisa's memory, family is suggesting you think about Darcy's Animal Rescue Center, the Canadian Breast Cancer Society, or the Alzheimer's Society of Manitoba. Everything we do at this service, when it comes to a Jewish person, is known as a chesed shel emet. It's the purest form of kindness that we can bestow on our loved one. And we don't do so willingly, we do it begrudgingly. And we actually take a shovel and we hold it upside down, and it's a way to say to God, we're really disappointed with your decision. But we acquiesce by placing earth on top of the casket as a way of acknowledging that maybe God has some sort of cosmic plan. So I'll encourage you to do it this first way, like this. And then to do it 2 more times, this way. The other thing, and I don't mean to be humorous, it's only taken me 4.5 years here in Winnipeg, my second round, to figure this out. There's a custom, I think, for a long time that when you place the earth on the casket, that's the end of the service. That's not the case, according to a traditional service. So after we're done placing earth on the casket, I'm going to recite the El Malei Rachamim, and then we will hear the mourners recite the Kaddish, and then we will be done. But for those who'd like to participate, we'll start first with family, and you can do this, several people can do this simultaneously. At a certain point, I'm going to stop and move forward with the remaining rituals. But anyone who wants to stay afterwards, after the formal part of the service has ended, should feel free to do so. So for now, we'll have family come forward. Others who'd like to place earth on the casket should feel free to come forward as well. So maybe we'll give it another minute or so, and then I'll ask people to pause as we finish out the service. Okay, I think we'll pause here for right now. And then again, anyone who wants to return should feel absolutely comfortable to do so. And place additional earth on the casket. I'm going to recite the El Malei Rachamim prayer, the memorial prayer. El Malei Rachamim Shochein Bavromim Hamtzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Shechina V'malot Kedoshim Utorim Kezorah Kimazirim Nishmat Malka Bat Faiva V'sima Shelcha Le'olama Began Eden Tehei Menuchata Ana Balarachamim Hastirehu V'setek Nafecha Le'olamim Utzror B'tzror Chaim Et Nishmata Adonai Hu Nachlata V'tanuach B'sholom HaMishkava V'nomar Amen. Together we're going to listen to the words of the mourners Kaddish that will be recited by the mourners. If you want to come here together and recite it, that would be good.
Yikadal v'yikadash v'Rabah Balma Divrah Hey Mami Hey Chayan
So I just wanted to say to all Lisa's family and to all of us these words of comfort that we traditionally offer those who are in mourning. And we say to you, Hamakom Yinachem Etchem B'toch Shar Avlei Tzion V'Yerushalayim. May God continue to grant you comfort amongst all the mourners of Zion, Jerusalem, and throughout the entire world. Thank you everyone for being with us. Again, if you'd like to place earth on the casket, please feel free to go ahead and do so. And a reminder that the meal of consolation will happen immediately after the service. Thank you.
Yeah.